Hi, friends. We're in the studio today with Jose Suazo. Jose, you are the Vice President of the Inter-American Division for OCI. You have a ministry happening in Honduras. VIDA, tell us a little about that.
Sure. So we're located 1 hour and a half hours northeast of the capital city of Tegucigalpa in Honduras. And we have a multifaceted ministry there where we have a bilingual elementary school and high school. We also have a lifestyle center and we have a missionary training program. And we've been operating already for 15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
Man, you're not that old. So how did you get involved in this kind of ministry?
Steve, so I ended up attending Laurelbrook Academy. I wasn't a Seventh-day Adventist, and I was exposed to Adventism through education, and it really won my heart to go back home and do the same. So I started wondering, I started asking questions. How could it be with so much technology that we have today, there's still so many people that haven't heard of the Adventist message?
The Three Angels Messages has not gone anywhere. Everywhere.
Everywhere, right.
Yeah.
And I just was won over by that idea, and God had planted in my heart this vision of going back home and doing something similar. The school had given me this concept of outpost to city evangelism, and I started thinking about my childhood farm. My father had a coffee plantation.
Okay.
And to me, it all made sense. It was outside of the city, and there was a village nearby, and I was thinking of all the opportunities that we could exploit and helping satisfy the needs of that little village. And when my dad heard my testimony, he was not a Seventh-day Adventist. He decided to donate the land to start the ministry, and this is how VIDA got started.
So you didn't go back there as a non-Adventist, though, or as a person who was not baptized into the Adventist message. How did that happen?
So while I was in school, one evening, the boys' dean, Mr. Rick Carr at Laurelbrook Academy, he came over and he asked if I wanted to study the Bible.
Wow.
And I started studying the Bible very systematically. I was constantly looking. I was an evangelical Christian.
Okay.
I was trying to look for inconsistencies in the Adventist faith.
Okay.
And I ended up realizing, that it was the truth. And so at the end of that Bible study, that series of Bible studies, to get baptized. And so, and everything there in the program was very spiritual focused. I remember in order for us to pass Bible class, we had to preach an evangelistic campaign.
Okay.
And I had to preach on the mark of the beast, and I wasn't even an Adventist.
So you're preaching on the mark of the beast, you're not an Adventist, and God used that.
And God was able to use that. It was really powerful. And more than just reaching a specific audience as part of a class, I think God was really trying to reach my own heart.
Right.
And put me into a path where I would be able to do that, for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So you graduated from Laurelbrook and you got some missionary training.
Yes.
And God took you back to Honduras to start a ministry there.
That's right.
And today there is a thriving education system happening on that campus. Yeah. Tell us about the initial education part that you have there.
So when we first started, we wanted to figure out how we could really solve the needs of the community. Mm-hmm. Honduras, as many of you know, is an impoverished nation. There's about 800 in the recent years, 800,000 people fleeing the country, into the north, into the United States illegally in looking for better opportunities. And so in the midst of all of that immigration situation and the impoverished situation of the country, we were trying to figure out how can we solve that poverty issue. Right. And we realized that we couldn't solve the poverty question without really going into education. Okay. And from my own experience, I had gone to a bilingual school, and being able to speak both English and Spanish opened many doors just by being fluent in both languages. And so we wanted to craft an educational system that would be bilingual, but also based on Ellen White's writings on true education. Mm-hmm. And this is how our school got started. We actually had a volunteer that had come. Her name was Manuela from Switzerland. She had come to teach an adult English class, and she was going to stay for 6 months. And we gave her a call and say, hey, Manuela, we also want to start a school for kids. You're a teacher, you're a trained teacher. Would you be willing to help us? And she decided to stay, and her 6 months turned into 6 years. And our two students that we started with ended up transforming into 118 students that we have today. Yeah, so God has been really blessing that educational program.
So, you have an education program, grades K through
11th.
11th. All right. You're putting out missionaries for the country of Honduras. These kids are coming, their lives are being transformed.
That's right.
But you also have a missionary training program.
We also have a missionary training program. We realized that in Central America, even though there's a lot of missionary training programs in South America, in North America, but in Central America, from Guatemala all the way to Costa Rica, there were no missionary training programs for young people. And so we thought that in starting this program, we would be able to really galvanize Adventist youth towards having a mission revival. And realizing that preaching the gospel is part of Adventism, and it's part of what we do for God, you know. And so we started this program. We train them in theology, in health, and in leadership. And it's been a blessing, Steve. We're in our 15th class right now.
Wow.
And we have been able to train people from all over Central America, and many of them have ended up working with us, actually. The director of elementary school, for example, she studied in our missionary training program first.
Okay.
And that's how she ended up staying. And several others who have now been are part of the core team there at VIDA, who have been there for 12 years. And they first were introduced to that type of mission work through the missionary training program.
So, education, missionary training program, and the other component you mentioned was like lifestyle center. How did that go?
So we always wanted to do something in the area of health. There's a lot of health problems in the community, and they're growing as Honduras becomes more open to more Western ideas and Western lifestyle. There's many of these lifestyle diseases that are now very prevalent in the country. And so we first started our lifestyle center. It was a very rustic setting. Let's call it that. And we had these two patients. We weren't really ready to open up, but they were so desperate in pursuit for a better health that they decided to come, and we didn't even have windows and doors. And in confidence, they told us later on when they were giving their testimony that the first time they arrived, you know, and we showed them to the room, and, you know, they really weren't sure if they wanted to stay. You know, they ran out to see if the car that had brought them was still there, but they were gone. And they're in the middle of nowhere, you know, so they were kind of stuck there. But as the days went on, their lives were just completely changed. A lot of their symptoms were being rolled back, and they were feeling better, and so they ended up staying longer than what they had originally predicted. And from that moment, we kept on having many other lifestyle guests that have come over the years. And the Lifestyle Center is actually one of our fastest growing programs there at VIDA.
So how many people can you take in a typical session?
So we started with a three room, 6-bedroom facility. Mm-hmm. And now we have expanded. We have added 5 more rooms to take in 10 more guests. So we take a max of 16, but an average of 8 to 10 on every session. And it has been an incredible blessing, because at the beginning people thought we were crazy in starting a lifestyle center in such a rural setting. But people have been just coming there from all parts of the country. We've even had the commissioner of the National Police come there. Wow. People from different walks of life, different social classes, and it's been a powerful witness. Recently, we actually had a situation where I received a phone call from a member of Congress in Honduras.
Okay.
And I was a little bit worried at the beginning when they contacted me. But this person said, I've heard about the work that you guys are doing, and we are interested in sending people from the Honduran public system, people close to the public system, to come and be lifestyle guests at your center.
Really?
And so they started sponsoring
So
people
they're
to come.
advertising for you and sponsoring.
And sponsoring patients to come, to our facility. They provide the transportation out there, and they pay for the services
And
there.
you guys are literally in the middle of nowhere, if
And
I can just say so.
Yes, it's 70 kilometers from the capital city, and there's 18 kilometers on a bumpy road. Nobody would ever think. People come and they would say, "I would never expect this to be in this place," and so, but the Lord has really provided an increase there, and there's been so many people that have been touched by the Lifestyle Center program that we have.
So, Jose, that ministry's been there for about 15 years now. Stories happen.
Yes.
Tell us a story about someone's life who was transformed, maybe in the school, and then we'll see how time goes.
So let me tell you the story of Sandra. She had 3 of her children in our elementary school, and they were Catholic. And as they, went through the educational experience in our school, they were powerfully impacted. She was exposed to Adventism. She started studying the Bible. She decided to get baptized.
Oh, praise God.
And her oldest child was one of our first 2 students that we have.
Okay.
His name is Eduardo. And so Eduardo, we managed to contact an institution, Harbor Hills. You might have some experience with that
have a little
place.
knowledge of that.
And we were able to send him to finish his high school at Harbor Hills. And he got baptized, just like I did when I went to Laurelbrook myself.
Praise God.
And it's powerful to see how the life of this entire family has been impacted by that. Angie, the second daughter in that family, is at Laurelbrook Academy.
Okay.
And so, and to hear Sandra, give testimony of the way that her own life has changed, by being exposed to the school, has been amazing. So lives are being changed. The entire community is being transformed thereby because of the impact of the school and of the institution there. Yeah.
So that's amazing. The story, your life, your testimony, how God engaged you and then took you back to your home country. I'm just really blown away by that God would take you on a journey, get you involved in mission and ministry, and now seeing the things happening there on campus at VIDA. Jose, though, there's people who are watching today who may be wondering, yeah, I see that worked for Jose, but can it work for them? What is your appeal to someone who's watching today?
So, friends, I don't know what is your walk of life. I don't know what your background is. But if God was able to use a 19-year-old, without a driver's license, without a university education, to do a work in Honduras, and we have seen this happen over and over again, I am sure He can use you. If you're a teacher, for example, and you're interested in the mission field, we're always looking for teachers in Honduras. And if the Lord is calling you, if you feel a passion to serve the Lord, don't let that die down. Pursue it, and you will see that God will carry out incredible miracles in your life. And we have witnessed that firsthand in Honduras. So I want to encourage you to follow that calling of serving the Lord with your life.
Friends, this is Outpost Centers International Mission Revival Program. If you feel a passion to get engaged in ministry, call us at Outpost Centers International. We'll connect you, we'll train you, we'll give you some resources so that you too can engage in mission.